So last episode, I gave you a teaser letting you know that I did not decide on my own to leave my job. So what does that mean? I'm sure we're all adults. You guys can figure it out. My job was actually eliminated. My position was eliminated, and that is how I ended up here. But I want to take you guys through the journey of it because I believe it's going to help somebody, and it's a really good testimony to really truly like how God works, and He just makes things move when we don't even know He's doing it. Welcome back to the Pink Elephant, guys. I am Shanay, and if this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining me. And if you're back again, welcome back. Before we get started, I want to make sure I take care of some housekeeping things here. If you are not following me, make sure you are following me on Instagram and on TikTok at the Pink Elephant _ by Shanay. And if you are on Facebook, it's simply Shanay Pringle. But more than that, if you are a YouTube user, I need your help. Make sure you are subscribing to my YouTube channel, and make sure you give me a big thumbs up anytime you watch my videos if you like it, if it resonates with you, and then share it with someone. That helps me out tremendously. All right. So now that we got that out the way, let's jump into today's episode. All right, y'all. So last episode, I talked about the fact that I was going to Mexico. I'd found some new pieces of jewelry that I absolutely love. So I want to recap Mexico today. I want to share with you the looks that I ended up wearing on the boat and during the trip, as well as those pieces that I was able to wear from Garnished in Gold. So if you guys are not aware, I am now an affiliate with Garnished in Gold, and I'm really, really excited about this brand. The pieces that I bought, it was a stud chain earring or a chain stud earring. And then I bought the fringe hoops, and they are super, super cute. I was able to style them while in Mexico, and they're such great quality. So I'm going to get into a couple of clips of me wearing those pieces while in Mexico. The first thing that I want to share is I absolutely loved the boat party. All right. It was a party from the time we got on to the time we left. Okay. The girls were out there and the girls came to have fun. So that is definitely, I'll just say that. But I also love the fact that, we don't get a chance to go in like that often. So anytime we're out of town and we get to have a fun time like that is dope. So this is the outfit that I wore on the boat. I wore the sheer maxi dress. It buttoned down all the way to the bottom, and it had bell sleeves. It was a very, very, very nice and sexy look for a Mexico trip. It wasn't too much. It was just enough. And then I wore a black bathing suit under it. Also very, very cute. And as you can see, I wore my I love this nautical trucker hat so much so that I am working on something like it. So stay tuned for the hat that I'm going to share with you guys in case you're interested in something that's fun and just absolutely dope. Okay. So I absolutely love this look. But the other thing that I really loved about this look were the earrings. So I did get to wear the chain stud earrings, and I want to make sure I am saying I'm saying the name of the earrings correctly. But if I'm not, no worries, because I'll make sure I have that in the description box when I put this episode out. But those earrings were absolutely just perfect with this look. They weren't too much. They weren't too little. It was a sexy, like, I loved it. And it's throwback. So if you guys remember from back in the day, they used to wear these chain earrings all the time. So the other look that I wanted to share was the fringe hoop earrings. Now, I threw these earrings on when I traveled back to Charleston, and I put on my nautical hat because I did not want to do anything with my hair. And those hoops they just do something to a look. So I really loved those hoops as well. I wore them from 8 a.m. all the way through till about I'm pretty sure 9 p.m. And I didn't really notice them until about 9 p.m. So that's a whole 13 hours later. So I do recommend those. They're not too heavy and they didn't bother me at all. So if you're interested in the fringe hoops, I'll make sure I have that in the description box so you can grab those. Use code Pink Elephant and you will receive a discount. So that is that. Now, shifting gears just a little bit. I don't want to discuss anyone, but y'all, we are still like slowly coming out of recovery from Mexico. If you've ever been to Mexico before, then you know that Mexico's water is not something that we can take as Americans. Our bodies are just cannot handle it. So we did avoid drinking the water, but we forgot about little things like salad or vegetables and things like that that we might have that could have been washed in their water. And so I think that might be what got us. So my husband and I, we've been down and out, okay, for the last I don't know how many days. So I'm coming out of it. That was a lot for me to bear, but we're making it through. The other thing that I was talking about with Mexico, y'all, it was the driving for me. All right. It was the driving. Like I was like holding on for dear life as we were driving. It didn't matter what driver it was. I felt like they were speeding. They were going so fast. Immediately I was thankful that I live in America because I need rules. I need rules. I need regulations. I need somebody to be watching. Like it was scary. My neck was hurting because I was so busy trying to avoid moving from side to side, it was a lot. So that was my only complaint about Mexico. The driving, y'all got to work on that. Okay. Work on that. Okay, now we are going to shift gears a bit more, and I am going to, for once and for all, talk more about this transition that I am in. So last episode, I gave you a teaser letting you know that I did not decide on my own to leave my job. So what does that mean? I'm sure we're all adults. You guys can figure it out. My job was actually eliminated. My position was eliminated, and that is how I ended up here. But I want to take you guys through the journey of it because I believe it's going to help somebody, and it's a really good testimony to really truly like how God works, and he just makes things move when we don't even know he's doing it. So let's go back a little bit. Now, before I go, I want to put a disclaimer out there. If you have not listened to previous episodes, then you may find yourself kind of like missing some pieces. So go back when you have a chance and listen to, I think the last two episodes, and you'll kind of have a bigger picture about why this is like a big deal and a full circle moment, because I'm not going to get into too much about too much because I already did it. But let's jump in. All right. So when I say God works things out, he does. So back in December, I was really, really feeling some kind of way about work. I told you guys that I really wanted to quit. It was just weighing on me really, really heavily. And the Holy Spirit was like, you can't quit, Shanay. Like, you cannot quit. Do not quit. Just be still. And just allow me to do what I do, because this is my territory, boo, not yours. So I did that. I sat still. But the thing that I learned about dealing with hard things is that it helps you. It frees you from being afraid to be yourself. Let me give you more on that. After I received my worst review ever while working at the company, I was feeling down and out, but after I got over feeling down and out, I got brave. Okay. I got brave. So that next quarter, which was January through March, I did not shy away from being Shanay. When I tell you, every time I got on a meeting, every time I had an interaction with anyone, anytime I went out into the field, I wore the clothes that made me feel best. I spoke impeccably in myself and authentically. When I led a meeting, I led it in my own way. I did not create projects just because, and I didn't get on a call with anxiety. Because it's something about feeling like you don't have nothing to lose that almost is dangerous, right? It can be very dangerous for those who are around you. Okay. Because when you don't have anything to lose, you get into a space where you get bold. And that's exactly what happened for me. I never felt as comfortable as I did after going through the hardest part of the job. And that is a testament to how God grows you even in those hard circumstances, right? Even in those tough moments and the stormy seasons, you're still growing. All right. And you might not know it, but you'll really realize after the storm is over and the next storm comes, when those things come to you and start to try to you have deja vu about the situation that you're in, you'll have tools that will prevent you from falling apart because God has strengthened you in that previous storm. So I'll say that. So anyway, the next quarter, so we going into January, February, and March. I have the best quarter yet. All right. I'm feeling so much better about myself, about, my job, about the people who are around me. And it's because I let go of the fear of losing the job or leaving the job. I had given it up to God at that point. So I was feeling good and I had the best quarter yet. So with the best quarter yet, I had the best review. And the company actually did the best it had done in years. So with that, everybody in the company got a bonus that we hadn't gotten before. At least I hadn't in my 2 years of being there. So on the day that we got our bonus, I remember vividly because I was in Target and I was grabbing a few things. Okay. On the day that we got our bonus, a couple of hours later, we got an email that stated that they would be laying off 5% of the entire company. What a shock, right? Like you like, dang, I'm confused. We just did really, really great. What do you mean you're letting go 5% of the company? This doesn't make any sense. Immediately, I called my coworker because she's my confidant, and I knew that she's been around the block. She's had experience, and I'm like, we got to talk about this. Everybody has that work friend where they like, girl, listen, and you discuss things, but she is that for me. So I got off the call with her, and after I talked to her, she helped me calm down quite a bit because she was like, look, Shanay, I am not worried about this. It's not going to be us. We've launched too many products recently. We are busy. You're busy. Don't worry about it. I don't think it's going to be us. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I just had this feeling of just like, this is, I don't know about this. I felt like I wasn't in the clear, right? And 5%, to put it in perspective, is thousands and thousands of people who work for this company. So no one was excluded. But still with 5% in my mind and in my heart, I just felt like I felt unsettled. So I began to pray. First of all, I came back home and I prayed and I was just like, God, I don't know what's about to happen, but I feel a little uneasy. And part of that was because I had never not worked, right? So for me, I worked like my entire forever. Since I've been out of college, I've worked. So in my mind to not work, it would be weird. So I just kind of was wrestling back and forth with that thought. Now, I want to take a step back real quick because I want to plug in this part right here. When people say speak impeccably or be careful what you say, is true. Last year, when I was going through a lot at work and I was also in a place of transition in my mindset, and I was seeing that, God had more for me, and I developed the Pink Elephant brand. I remember talking to my coworker and I told her, I said, look, I don't think I'm gonna be here by the end of next year. I'm not gonna be here by the end of next year. I don't even think I said I think. I said I'm not gonna be here by the end of next year. And I remember the day I said that because I said it with so much conviction. Like I knew it, like deep rooted in me. I was like, I am not going to be here next year. I didn't know what was going to happen. I don't know what the plan was going to be. I was doing my content. I was doing little things here and there, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to walk away from corporate America. But I had a feeling that I would no longer be in corporate America by the end of next year, which is 2024. Okay. So do you have chills? Okay. So anyway, so that declaration was made. And you guys, sometimes we forget our faith. Like, let me say this. I want to speak from my heart. When I said that, when I declared that I would not be at that job at the end of the year next year, I was in a really strong place. Like my faith was solid. Like I was hearing God clearly. I was in a place of expectancy. I was believing God for a lot of things. And as the time went on, my spirit began to be broken, or I was allowing my faith to be shaken. And you got to have solid faith. Like God is looking for us to have, like, we got to be standing solid. We don't want nobody shaky towards us. So God don't want us to be shaky with him. And I remember how over time, my confidence in that began to dwindle because I was going through things at work. And also too personally, right? So even with me and social media and figuring out what I'm gonna do and, all the different things, all those things were happening. And I think I began to lose sight of the clarity that God had already given me, right? So we gotta be very, very mindful about our faith and make sure it's always strong and in alignment with where God wants us to be, right? So I want to put that out there because sometimes we got to repent, which God forgive me for not believing, right? Or not being solid, God, or being shaky. You didn't deserve that. Okay, Lord, you did not deserve that. Not for what you did. All right, so back to the story. So after I got the email, the news that they were going to lay off 5% of the company, and of course, I came home, I prayed, and I was still a little anxious because I know, like, God will make a way, but God, I've never not worked, Lord. Like, what does this mean? I've never not been successful. I've never failed at anything like this. Like, God, I don't know. So I was a little shaky about it. And then a little angel, a coworker, she reached out to me. She was like, Shanay, I found the severance information. Do you want me to send it to you? I said, absolutely. Because that would, give me a little bit of peace of mind knowing that I'm going to have some money should things not go the way that I want them to go, or not even want them to go, but just they don't go well for me to them. All right. So she sent me the severance package. And once I saw the severance was 6 months of pay. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I thought you get 2 weeks for every year you've been with a company. But to see that we would get paid for 6 months, I was like, wow, okay. So I began to thank God. And God, it was so funny because I remember thinking, like, God was probably like, Shanay, I'm going to give you this to comfort you because it seemed like you kind of panicking a little bit. So let me give you this to let you know you're going to be fine. It's almost like, girl, you okay. You are going to be good. It's like your friend telling you and showing you, like, look, the numbers are numbering. So I calmed down. And I had a dream, y'all, that I was let go and God gave me this vision for this amazing coffee shop. Like, it was clear as day. And he began to also put, not just this dream, put other little he planted other seeds in me, in my mind, that comforted me about what it is what else I could do if I should transition out. That this job was not my last stop. And more and more, as I continue to get that confirmation from the Holy Spirit, I began to get calmer and calmer and calmer. And I just got to a place where it was like, God, whatever you would want from me is what I want for myself. Now, let me tell you something about surrendering. When you finally surrender to God and you say, God, whatever you want for me, you are saying, no matter what it looks like on the outside, no matter, God, that I've not had a job in over 10 years. I've never made this amount of money. So my lifestyle has shifted, God. You're saying no matter all those circumstances, God, if you want what you want for me, God, I want it for myself too. It's almost like when people be like, if you like it, I love it. God, if you like it, God, I love it, God. So fast forward, because they did not they didn't hold out for too long. They ended up letting us know rather quickly whether or not it would be us. So I got an appointment on my calendar, and it was for my manager, and it was to have a conversation. And so immediately, here I go. God had already told me I'm gonna be good, but I call my friend. I'm like, oh my goodness, I got a meeting on my calendar, and the meeting was like top of the morning. All right. Anytime something be at the top of the morning, it might not be good. All right. So for me, right when I got that on my calendar, I was like, okay, it's going to be me. Like, for real, y'all. I just like, when I tell you, it's some things that you just know. And one thing that I can honestly say is my intuition is really, really good. So I felt it, but I called my friend. I was like, "Oh my goodness, it's happening." I even shed some tears because it was like the realization that this is about to happen. And she was like, "Shanay, no, everybody got a call. Everybody got a meeting on a calendar. They're gonna talk to us regardless. It's not Shanay. I believe you are fine. I think that you need to calm down. I believe that you will be fine." And so I was like, "I don't know, girl. I just got a feeling." She's like, "Trust me, Shanay. I believe that you will be good." So I hung up with her, but I knew, y'all. I knew. So I got on the call. My manager came on, as well as the another manager. And then at that moment, I knew that I was going to get the news that I was going to be laid off. And I was having an out of body experience as they were talking to me, as she was, Shanae, we had to make a decision. And unfortunately, we have to eliminate your position. And these are the things that's going to take place. And I literally kind of had to like keep moving my legs. I even kind of like rubbed my legs to make sure that I was there. I was literally having this out of body experience that I cannot, it was bizarre. Okay. And so she was like, "Do you have any questions?" And I was just like, "No." I was just like, "Thank you for, allowing me to work here." And I got off the call and I sobbed. And I was confused why I was sobbing because I had come to terms with it. But then I also, I sobbed. I realized I was sobbing because a sigh of relief came over me too. I began to feel like, wow, God, this is really happening. It got real. It got real, real quick. Okay. So I started to digest what just took place. And I just remember sitting here in this chair, just thinking like, okay, God, it's on you now. It's all on you. So, but let me tell you this though, y'all. It's crazy because as I'm sitting, after I got the news, I'm at my desk and I look at my calendar and I realized that I'd had a interview scheduled with Ohm Radio. Shout out to the ZD Experience. Ohm Radio interview for a couple of days later that I'd had on the calendar for over a month. And I smiled because I began to think about how good God is and how he is so intentional about how he orders every single step. And God had already placed it on the calendar for me so that I can move into the next phase of my life. So you guys know I had my Pink Soiree event. My Pink Soiree was the launch party for my podcast. At the time of me planning, like I began planning this Pink Soiree in January. But at the time of me planning it, I did not know that I would be shifting gears to be in my podcast full time. I had no clue. Now, this is this year, y'all. I plan to have the Pink Soiree, and I said, you know what? This is going to be my launch party. The launch party was in April, okay? The launch party was April 27th. When I got laid off, they told me that my final day to talk to clients and to reach out and to use my computer to reach out to customers would be April 23rd. So, y'all, I literally closed my computer for work on April 23rd. My event was April 27th in that same week. Okay. And that was my event to launch my podcast. All right. That I'd been planning for several months. Okay. Since January. All right. Okay. Are you following me? And I want to go back to the week that I got the news. So the week that I got the news, I had an interview with OM Radio to talk about my brand, the Pink Elephant, as well as the Pink Soiree and the event that I was hosting, to talk about the women-owned businesses, to talk about my podcast, to talk about the community and how I built my brand. God had, like, y'all, the way he orchestrates things in our lives, we could never, could never do what he does. He does it just so well. And even if you try, it'll never be without bumps and bruises. This was smooth. God is a smooth man. He's smooth, okay? Big G, not little g. So for him to already have placed an interview that week so that I could walk into my power in my voice, right? So that he could let me know that, Shanay, that job ended, but you didn't end. This is the beginning for you. You're closing a chapter, closing a laptop only to open your personal laptop, boo. Only to open up your personal calendar. You're now open to receive all the opportunities that are lined up for you. All you got to do is walk through the door. God had a door that was already unlocked, okay? Y'all about to make me get hyped. All right. God had already had a door there and it was unlocked. And all I had to do, I don't even know. Forget unlocked. God had the door cracked open, letting flies in. All right. Letting all the flies in. Let the flies in, honey. All the opportunities were coming my way. And all I had to do was walk in it. Right? All I had to do was walk through the door. So y'all, when I got on that interview, I had the interview, and what I'll do is I'll make sure I link that interview to this episode in case you want to check it out. It was a powerful interview with Zandrina Dunning on the ZD Experience. She is amazing, a phenomenal community. She I would call her a community leader because she is well known and respected here in the Charleston area. And it was an honor to sit with her and talk about my brand and talk about all things woman, okay, and God, okay? So anyway, that interview was incredible. So did that interview. All the while, I had just found out that I was transitioning out of corporate America. So in that interview, if you listen, I talk about being a woman that wears many hats. So I'm in corporate America. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a friend, all these things. And I talk about that in that interview. Only to be shifting gears, only for God to be moving things around for me to no longer be in corporate America and only be with or involved in my own business and brand. All right. So fast forward, my event is April 27th, right? And it's so funny how this works. So I do this event because I had made up in my mind, I don't care what news I get, the event will go on. I get up there on the stage at the event, and at that moment of being on the stage, I realized that God was shaping me and molding me in my stormy season. Because during that stormy season, I got a try me kind of spirit, right? I'm a bet on myself kind of spirit in that stormy season because I didn't care what anybody else had to say about me. I believe what God had to say about me. So when I got on the stage and I took the microphone, I felt so much at home and at peace in that moment, knowing that this is where I was supposed to be. This is the platform that I'm supposed to be on. This is the work that God would have me to do at this point in my life. And you guys, I want to plug this in real quick because this is something that I learned recently, and I did talk about this before. So make sure you're keeping up with me. Seasons of our lives. Every season is instrumental to the next season. So I was supposed to be in that job for those 2 years and 5 months and 6 days. I looked it up. I was supposed to be there because what it did, it allowed me to build some character, some strength, some boldness, some assurance to move into this next phase, which is going to be a very, very, very faith-based phase of my life and season of my life. You got to know that God is in control even when it feels like the boat is just rocking. God is on the boat sleep, and you sitting up on the boat like this, like, but God is sleep, soundlessly sleeping because he's in control. And so I want to tell you guys right now, before I say anything else about my story, no matter what you're going through, God is in control. And the moment you surrender to that, knowing that if I lose my job, if God want me to have another one, he'll give me another one. If I don't get this house, this ain't the house for me. God already has my house. God already has the husband that he wants for me. And it might not come when I want it. So and I remember when pastors would say that it may not come when you want it, but it's right on time. That is the truth. If God was to give us something right when we want it, let's say I wanted out of that job in December. Okay, I want it out. Get me out of here, because I didn't know at that point. I didn't trust myself with anybody. The manager that I felt I was working with, I just knew, like, God, this is not going to end well. If I continue to be put in this situation, God, I'm not capable. I don't have it, Lord. Get me out. And he didn't. He didn't get me out. If I'd left that job on my own back in December, I would have never gotten 6 months severance, which means I would have put my family and myself in a situation that would be a lot more difficult. That's why you gotta be still. That's why you gotta do your bit. Just only handle your business. Don't work. Don't be trying to do with God's job. Don't do God's job. Do your job. And that's to have faith, to listen to God and be in alignment. Be where you're supposed to be. I think somebody used this this analogy about when mail is delivered. If I send you a package and you ain't there to receive it, what good is it? I sent it to you, but you ain't there. So we got to make sure we're where we're supposed to be when God sends the package. Okay. So I thank God that I stayed planted there and I built strength in that moment, because it was a strength building season of my life, so that I can enter into this next season with some armor. Okay. And with some tools. So, all right. So follow me. And I know I hope you guys aren't getting too whatever about what I'm talking about today. I just want to really give you all the details and the juice from it. I want to give you every single thing I got. All right. So I had my event. The event is beautiful. It's amazing. Thank you guys so much for showing up for me. I can't thank you enough. The event was amazing. About 2 weeks after the event, I get a call, and I get a call from someone, a friend of mine, old friend of mine, matter of fact. And she's like, Shanay, I really, really think that you would be really, really great in this work with this particular company. And I just know that, if it's not for you, that's fine. But Shanay, here's an opportunity for you and for your podcast. I was like, what? Now, y'all, I started my podcast in 2022, but I have not been able to commit to my podcast the way I wanted to, because I had a 9-to-5 job and I would travel a lot. And, sometimes my creativity was stifled. I'm like, this little old podcast, little old me, and I just couldn't believe that this opportunity would come. This is like a couple of weeks after my launch party. So I pray on it. I pray on the opportunity, because I just couldn't believe that it would come like this. In my mind, it was mind blowing to me. I hadn't even turned my car in yet at that point. And it's for somebody to come and reach out to me about an opportunity for my podcast, which I was transitioning into full time, which I just had my launch party for. It just didn't make sense. I'm like, how? It's just it blew my mind. But the one thing that I want to plug right here is, when you are where you're supposed to be, God will move. And it's not going to happen as slow pace as you think it will. It's not going to take as long as we think it would. It will happen fast. And I learned that through listening to a podcast. And I'll have to share that podcast episode with you guys. But I learned the importance of moving quickly with God. When God is giving you something and you are in alignment and it happens fast, that's not a reason and that's not your cue to freak out and back out. It's almost like, God, help my cup. I want my cup to run over. Let it overflow, Lord. Let it overflow. And then he overflows and you be trying to like, wait. No, I'm not ready. I don't have my umbrella. Oh, my hair. No. You want it overflow. You want it to pour down on you. So if your hair gets wet, if you don't have no umbrella, your clothes get wet, you ain't got no, your shoes get wet. That's okay because you said this is what you wanted. So when you pray for something and you believe God for something, believe that God is giving it to you at the time that he knows you're ready for it. So don't get scared and don't pull away. And I'm ministering to myself as I minister to you because I, for a moment, was scared of what that next was going to be. And I had a hard time receiving it. Just for, I think I was debating on this opportunity for about 3 days, 4 days before I said yes to it. I also want to plug here that your destiny and your calling is between you and God. Stop calling everybody to find out their ideas and their opinions and their thoughts and recommendations. You gotta listen to God. And y'all, I'm learning that in this season. I'm learning like it's between me and God. I can tell you, and you can definitely give me your, best wishes and your thoughts, but I don't have to take those in. I'm not taking those in. If God already said it, it is so. Period. Stop looking for people to talk you out of it because that's going to be your way out. I'm talking to myself. Stop looking for excuses to say no when God had already said this is what you're supposed to do. Just listen to God. Save yourself all the drama, all the heartache, all the pain, all the money you done spent and wasted. And that's me. Wasting money on master classes that I didn't need and whatever else. Because when God says yes, it don't matter if you got the education for it. It don't matter if you had the experience for it. It don't matter if you got the money for it. It don't matter if you got a nice camera for it. He's going to make those things work for you. He's going to use what you have to do your next thing. And he's doing it. God used my launch party that I'd been planning for several months to move me into this next season of my life of being and committing to the Pink Elephant by Shanay podcast full time. So I say that because though I quote unquote lost my job, I gained so much more. Let's talk about the things that I gained real quick. Before we end this, I want you to know a couple of things that I gained. I gained peace. I gained time. I have severance, meaning I have my money for the rest of the year. So I am okay. I gained relationships and I gained freedom. Y'all, there's nothing like being free. Okay? Destiny's Child. Ain't no feeling like being free. When you get to a place of being free, you'll do whatever you got to do. And God, I'm talking to you like, God, whatever you need me to do so I can stay in this space and grow in this space in this season of my life, whatever it is that you want me to learn in this season of my life, God, I'm willing to do it. So I want you guys to be in prayer for me as I walk into this next season of my life, and I commit to my podcast, this show, full time. I'm so excited about what God is going to do, but that does not mean that there are things that I'm going to have to grow through, okay? That doesn't mean that there aren't times where I'm like, okay, Lord, or there won't be times where I'm having to stretch. I know that I may have to stretch, but I also realize that whatever God is going to stretch me through this season, I'm going to be ready for next season. And next season, I'm believing God is going to have me on stages talking to more people, more women. I am traveling. My daughter's traveling with me. I am seeing the world. I am making money. So any money that I lost, quote unquote, God is going to give me 3 times that. Okay. It might look like a Job season to some, okay, where Job lost everything, but Job also got it back plus some. So I'm staying there with it. But I just wanted to make sure I gave you guys a bigger picture about how this happened, right? And I also wanted to make sure I showed you the way that God moved along the way he was moving in my life, so that you don't have to feel obligated to do anything. God is in control every single time. If this episode resonated with you, if you got anything from this episode, be sure to give me a big thumbs up. That I will appreciate. I see you. I'm thankful for all the people who are always supporting me. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you're going through something similar. If you want to encourage me. Because guys, y'all, it's been a transition. It's been a transition. And so stay connected. Be sure to follow me at the pink elephant _ by Shanay on Instagram and on TikTok. Send me a heart or shoot me a heart on any comment. Let me know you came from my podcast episode. And be well, guys. It's time. Walk into it. Bye, y'all.